What's up, guys, and welcome back to the DualSense podcast. This is episode 75. I'm one of your co-hosts, Jason, and I'm joined this evening by Titty Boy, also known as Travis. Travis, Titty Boy, how you doing tonight?
Doing great. Shout out to 2 Chainz.
Yeah, is that his alternate name? Is Titty Boy?
Yeah, he went by Titty Boy when he was in the Duffel Bag Boys.
Oh, okay. This is like Lil Wayne and Tunchi, right? Or because they're the same person, or am I wrong about
I think
that?
so. I'm not, my hip hop
Yeah.
knowledge isn't that deep. I just learned what about the gang war that's killing different rappers, so I'm not that deep in the game. But
Mm.
yeah, he had the Duffel Bag Boys had a song with Lil Wayne, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I remember from them. And then 2 Chainz became a thing.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I really was expecting that name that we saw on whatever that game was that we played earlier in the week. What
I
game
can't
were we?
remember what it was.
What game were we playing, and what was the name?
I think it was Battlefield. He was in our squad.
Oh yeah.
He was a PC player. It was something weird. It was
Dick Fitzwell.
That's what it was. Yeah.
I was really hoping it was going to be Dick Fitzwell. Yeah.
Dick Fitzwell. Yep. It was like PHITS.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Sometimes it's not.
Yeah. Well, I'm doing okay. I survived Thanksgiving. We did a miniature world tour, holiday world tour, as we call it. We had 3 stops for Thanksgiving yesterday. What did you have to make any stops, or were you fortunate to have everybody in one place?
No, we had 1 stop. Still don't get turkey. I'm not a big turkey guy. It was awful. Not that it was awful. It's okay.
Really?
It's just like there's a texture. Have you ever warmed up chicken and it has like that weird taste? I don't even know how to describe it really, but it's like a weird, not fun taste. And like turkey always tastes like that to me, no matter what. So I hate it. So I just go with the ham. Solid ham guy. Like I'm in on the honey baked, the honey glazed, all of the other words that go in with the honey. If you want to Cajun it, I'm in. If you want to like, I don't know, whatever you want to do to ham, I'm in. Butter it, cool.
Yeah,
I'm in on that. And then of course we had 1 stop, so that meant I had to make myself dinner at 6:00. So I was hungry again. So no, it's my least favorite holiday because I don't like the food. It's never good.
Oh.
I like, see, the thing is like, for me to eat and be full, I have to have protein.
Yeah.
I can eat a fuckload of carbs and I'll be hungry in 3 hours. Like I've got to eat meat. And that's the thing about Thanksgiving is it's meat I don't like. So it's like, yeah, I'll eat the green beans and the mashed potatoes and all these other sides and whatever. And then I'm hungry in 3 hours. I'll eat a fuckload of pie. It doesn't matter. I'm still hungry in 3 hours. So I hate it.
So what are you getting at Christmas that you're not getting at Thanksgiving? Just the ham? You just like ham at Christmas, or what? What's the problem? What's the difference there?
Well, the thing about Christmas is we have to go to 7 places. So inevitably, if you eat 7 meals of sides, you're going to be full.
Sure. What do you have a favorite side, or no? Are they all just blah for you?
Gosh, I don't know. I'm a big scallop potatoes guy, but nobody makes those.
Oh man, the potatoes au gratin, as they
that's my shit.
Au gratin.
Somebody always brings pierogies to Thanksgiving, and I don't like those. So,
what is a pierogi?
I think it's some German bullshit that Hitler liked. I don't really know. It's like a shitty version of an Asian dumpling. Okay. I hope that pissed off about 3 different cultures. I mean, it's hard to go wrong. Mashed potatoes, you can't really screw them up. But I've always liked flat green beans. Always.
Oh, absolutely.
So, love those.
Do you know what my actual favorite style of green bean is? It's the French cut green bean, basically the shredded green bean. I'm a big fan of that.
Those are. See, the good thing about those is when you cook them in a pan or like you saute in a saute pan, whatever you put in them, they absorb it so well.
Oh, it's great. It's fantastic. Yeah. Well, my favorite side for Thanksgiving is always the candied sweet potatoes, not sweet potato casserole. Candied sweet potatoes. It's basically sweet potatoes with a shit ton of butter and melted marshmallows on top, and you bake them. So you bake them so they get a little crisp on the edges. Oh, yeah. And they're nice and like tender.
The edges are caramel and sweet potatoes, basically.
Correct. It's fantastic.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Anyway, we promise that we are a PlayStation podcast, and we, of course, hope that you all had a great Thanksgiving and that you have something to be thankful for. It's unlike us, we have nothing to be thankful for. But, Anyway, we're a PlayStation podcast. We get together each and every week to discuss all of the news, rumors, new games, and much more in the world of PlayStation. We post new episodes every Monday on all the podcast services around the world, as well as YouTube. We post the show there. And also, if you want to find us and chat with us, you can catch us on social media on all the usual suspects like Twitter at the DualSense Pod, as well as Instagram at the DualSense Podcast, Facebook, which is the same. And then also we have a blog. It's the DualSensePodcast.wordpress.co. So you can just find us wherever you please and let's talk. All right. So without any further ado, Travis, let's jump into the news here. And it's not been a very terribly eventful news week, but we'll get it to you nonetheless, you the people. Here we go. Number 1, Horizon Forbidden West developer Guerrilla Games shared new details on the PlayStation blog of how they built a living, breathing world for the upcoming game. The team focused on authentic behavior to make the world come alive, and they revealed that, quote, every non-combat NPC in Horizon Forbidden West is part of a crowd system, ellipsis. We also have the attitude system, which determines a personality. This means we can create unique people who behave like individuals within the world, end quote. One of the game's early settlement hubs, called Chainscrape, is used to demonstrate many new systems and animations that make the world feel more alive. With Guerrilla writing, quote, in Horizon Zero Dawn, there were a lot of assets and things in the background. In Horizon Forbidden West, they're not just textures, they've been elevated to actual objects that are being used by people in-game. Where you previously saw a person standing in front of a forge, they will now actively engage with what's around them, moving materials, leaning on walls, drinking from cups, talking to friends, and just living their daily lives. They move and exist with purpose, end quote. Any thoughts?
One thing, okay, so I watched a video today randomly on YouTube that actually really lends some insight into this, which is fascinating because I don't read these before we do this. So what are the odds that happened? I watched this video of this guy. He basically made a GTA 5 clone in 24 hours with a budget of $300. And I can send you the video, but it's like,
it's amazing.
It's pretty amazing how close he got to it. He even built in a mission, 2 missions into it.
Wow.
And the AI operate in a certain different way. But the interesting thing about that is kind of gave you a little bit of insight into how you can write code and develop things for video games. Something that I never really understood or really even had an idea of how it worked. And it's super dense. Like if you think listening to this podcast with our information is dense, like try doing the code. It's like a language. It's literally like Java, but for video games. I don't understand it. But on the other hand, it does make sense logically, like how you chain things together. So from that perspective, this point, maybe we should tweet out the video to make more sense. Maybe you could watch that. Maybe we'll do that later. But
we can do that.
This type of thing that they're doing is what is gonna make video games to the next level. Like, when we were playing PS2, it was like from 1 to 2, it was like the graphics. And I feel like we've been on this graphics train forever about like the graphics are what's gonna really take us to the next level. Even now with 4K and all the frames per second, stuff like that. Sure, I'll buy into that. But having NPCs that like drink from a cup and you can tell that it's getting empty, or that they're putting wood in a forge and the wood pile's getting smaller, and then these other NPCs bringing wood over because they know they need it. Like, those are the things that's going to make games feel more immersive. It's going to make them feel more realistic. And I think that this is, how do I put this? Makes me feel like I have a little bit more faith in the video game industry.
Yeah.
As bad as Cyberpunk was, and Battlefield's incomplete, and those games were released incomplete. I was starting to get worried that we were going to see kind of an industry standard of games being released maybe in beta versions or even pre-beta versions in Cyberpunk's case. And to read about the detail that Guerrilla's put into this, that makes me feel like we're going back, like there's some sort of balance again. Like, okay, maybe these studios just made a mistake, that it's not the standard anymore, because that was what was freaking me out about it, and about kind of what our future looked like with games. I was really not into that. But all of this stuff, like, I don't know that I'm interested in playing Horizon Zero Dawn. What's funny to me, or sorry, Forbidden West. What's funny to me is every time that we talk about this game, I always think, "Oh yeah, it's not out yet."
Correct.
I just feel like it's already out, but
yeah, they've been
this is
releasing a lot of info about it.
right, and that makes me feel like too it's actually completed.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. And I think to your point, I think we should start. I mean, we should be worried in general that games release unfinished. Cyberpunk, Battlefield 2042 to an extent. There's numerous games like that, but I think if a first party title, no matter the first party, but since we're a PlayStation podcast, if a PlayStation first party title releases in a state even close to a Cyberpunk, for instance, like if Horizon Forbidden West released in that sort of state, that's when we should really start being worried, because that mean if first party starts compromising on quality, then we've got a problem, a big one. But I don't think that'll be the case with this game. They've delayed it already, obviously, so I think it's in good shape. Obviously, without having seen it or known anything firsthand, but there's no reason not to trust Guerrilla. There's no reason not to trust PlayStation. No reason not to trust Sony. And that was my point that I was trying to make. If that ever happens, then that's the point where we can start not trusting what they're telling us and the products that they're giving us. But in terms of, I try not to watch the videos that they release because I'm trying to somewhat go dark on the game. Like, I don't want to know anything else about it, but at the same time, I know that it's important and we need to talk about it on the show. But so I read the blog, but I didn't watch any of the little clips that they included, really. But this sounds incredible. It sounds fantastic, and it sounds like all of the things that, as a RPG player, as an open world game player, that you want to have in your open world game. This is some of the stuff that made The Witcher 3 feel so incredible to play, and so it's nice. You want that immersion, and that's one of the biggest things that you look for in an open world RPG. So this all sounds awesome. We'll see if they can pull it off. Number 2, a few PlayStation titles were honored at this year's Golden Joystick Awards this week. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart took home the award for Best Visual Design. Ghost of Tsushima for Best Game Expansion with her Iki Island DLC. Housemarque received the Breakthrough Award, whatever that means. Deathloop won the Critics' Choice Award, and the PlayStation 5 won the award for Best Gaming Hardware. So, do you have anything to say about this?
No, like we talked about last week, none of the, I guess, nominees were that surprising. And when you look at the winners here, and if I had to pick a most surprising winner, honestly, I don't really think any of these are too surprising. I mean, like PS5 winning the hardware, like it's won in every category, reviews and sales. The Breakthrough Award for Deathloop, that seems to fit the description of the award very well.
Well, that was for Housemarque. That was for Housemarque.
Oh, I'm sorry, I doubled crossed that into my head. Yes, okay. Let's take a step backward. Expansion, what is it, Iki Island or Death Stranding? So, either one of those seems like they were super worthy to me.
Yeah.
I think the Critics' Choice Award for Deathloop is interesting. Now, I think we talked about how Deathloop had the highest Metacritic score out of a lot of their most recent releases. So I guess it fits that bill, but I've also seen people be very critical of that game, and in a similar way, they were critical of Returnal. So I would have almost expected, a game like Returnal to win that award, because Deathloop seems more, I don't know, what Far Cry is to like Battlefield.
Yeah.
Like
it took less of a risk, is what you're trying. I guess it's a genre or a type of game that we've somewhat seen before.
Yeah, and I guess I feel like the only thing that separates it is the art style.
Yeah.
And the fact that you could do like everything in one loop is your goal at the end. I think those two things are what set it apart, but that kind of surprises me on that level. But everything else is kind of right on. And I mean, was there a game better looking than Ratchet and Clank? I'm not sure that there was. I mean, you could make an argument that the Iki Island expansion was beautiful, but again, that we're talking about a game like Ratchet and Clank. It's just not really on the same level to me.
Yeah, I think Ratchet probably won that award for their ray tracing alone.
Right.
I mean, that was very impressive, the implementation of that in that game, and it's a good looking game. Don't get me wrong; it's just hard in my opinion, and I know people are going to be like, "Oh my god," but in my opinion, it's hard for a animated, like cartoon looking game. Does that make sense to be deserving of like the best visual design? And that's really just more of a personal preference, I guess, because the things that visually strike me are when a game looks realistic. So like, The Last of Us Part 2, for instance, Red Dead Redemption 2 back then at that time, when the games look more realistic to me, that to me is striking visual design. But there's many types of striking visual design, so I understand that too.
Yeah.
For instance, Returnal is striking in its own way.
Or like Sifu will be.
Yeah, like Sifu will be. Yeah, so I mean, I understand all that. The rest of the stuff, nothing terribly surprising to me either. For best gaming hardware, I mean, what else is it going to be other than PlayStation 5? I mean, no offense to Xbox or anything like that, but next year it'll probably be the Steam Deck thing that's about to come out. So, but yeah, anyway, it's nice for, I guess, these teams and games to be recognized, and the next big Game Awards show will be the Game Awards here in a couple of weeks. So we await that, and the bigger award show, as it were. Number 3, developer Kojima Productions announced that they have formed a new division focused on film, television, and music projects. The team will be based in Los Angeles and is led by former PlayStation executive Riley Russell, who spent nearly 28 years with the company in various roles, ranging from chief legal officer to vice president of business affairs. In a press release, Russell said, quote, "The new division will be tasked with working with creative and talented professionals in television, music, and film, as well as the more familiar games industry." End quote. The ultimate goal of this Kojima Productions expansion is to, quote, "expand the reach and awareness of the properties now under development at Kojima Productions and to make them even more a part of our popular culture," end quote. Elsewhere, Kojima appears to be teasing his next project, which, based on a blurry photo he tweeted this week, includes actor Norman Reedus. The photo included the caption, quote, "Recently, I've been revising the plan and script and experimenting with everything else," end quote. What do you make of this?
I'm glad that last bit there, that last sentence from Kojima, like most things, making no sense. Like,
Always.
you got to be in the damn ether to know what he's talking about. So, a couple of things that are really interesting to me. So, for them to, I guess, push the awareness out of Kojima and make it kind of a globally known thing outside of the video game realm, the only way to do it is is by getting into television, music, and film. That's it. And I know that's literally everything else in the world that's entertainment related, but I feel like the video game market is, for as big as it is, it's still pretty small. Like, if you go talk to like our parents about video game characters, they're going to tell you Mario and Sonic. That's what they
Yeah.
know. And that those games are big when they were kids, yes, but also when those games are big, like there weren't as many options to play as there are now. There's so many games now that come out, like even though we go over them every week, like we could say games 2 weeks in a row sometimes and I don't remember them because there's just so many
Yeah.
and it's hard to keep track of them, and they're also good. So it's like it's just like and it's not to say there aren't world beaters, like God of War is a world beater, but most people don't know what that is. Same thing with The Last of Us. There's going to be people who watch that on HBO, or is that Showtime? Whichever one it is. Can't keep track where they are, and they're going to say, "Oh, this is a video game." Like they have no idea. Like my parents
Yeah.
won't know it's a video game when that comes out, and they'll
Right.
probably watch it because it's a story that they like those types of shows. So yes, for him to be globally known, this is exactly what he needs to do. I could tell you who could use a business affairs officer, and that would be Blizzard. They have a lot of business affairs over there.
And a chief legal officer.
I could use both of those. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, this sounds cool. I'm interested to see what this goes in. Film and television make a lot of sense based off of the gaming world. Like you can kind of connect dots there. But the music is what I'm very interested in. Like, is it just going to be like movie scores or video game scores that he can do in house? That would kind of make sense. But that also doesn't really get your marketability out any more than video games to me. Because like, who the hell knows a composer except for Hans Zimmer?
Yeah.
So, and it's not going to be. Is it going to be? It's not going to be rappers or K-pop. So like, I don't know what that means, but I'm
Right.
interested to see where that goes.
Yeah. So a couple things. One is a conspiracy theory, but first let me say that.
Oh, I have a conspiracy theory when you're done. Go ahead though.
Okay. So first let me say that this does not surprise me from Kojima because he is a auteur, as they say. He loves film. He loves television. He tweets about all of that often. film and television very clearly influences game design, philosophy, and style.
Storytelling.
And then he also likes to dabble in these actors in his games now. Apparently, Mads Mikkelsen and Norman Reedus and others in Death Stranding, for instance. He's obviously working with Norman Reedus again, as I mentioned here. I mean, it's clearly him in the photo, even though he blurred it out, but that's what Kojima does. So that part is not surprising to me. The things that I'm not sure about are, what does this look like for him? What does this look like for Kojima Productions? I'm also confused as to what this, I guess we all are. Nobody knows what it means, but he's opening a division for television, music, and film. And then the Riley Russell guy says that at the end of his quote that they're going to be working with the more familiar games industry as well.
What is that?
So what does that mean? Okay, so there's that. That's a question mark. Now on to the next point. Riley Russell, former PlayStation executive, was there for almost 3 decades. I think that's very interesting that he's going to work for Kojima. That leads me into my third point, in that I have a theory, a tinfoil hat theory.
We need a tinfoil drop for when you come up with these.
We do. We need like a sound effect. One day we will. I have a tinfoil hat theory that Kojima is potentially in talks with, or at some point could be, maybe already has been acquired by PlayStation, by Sony, and that he may be a first-party PlayStation studio. That potentially it's going to be announced at the Game Awards or somewhere around
2 weeks?
Potentially. This is just me spitballing. I have no reason to think this, but here are my thoughts. First of all, I think that whatever he's making is going to be on PlayStation. We know that there is a report a while back, months ago, that he had some type of agreement with Xbox, like in principle or something, like a letter of intent or whatever, to make a game for them. That could still happen. Even if he were acquired by PlayStation and Sony, because we're in this weird point in time where things cross over now. Deathloop, for instance, still coming to PlayStation exclusively after it was acquired by Bethesda, or Bethesda was acquired by Microsoft, I should say. So that doesn't stop anything anymore. Now, back on the tracks here to my conspiracy. He wants to get into film, television, and music. Okay. He already has a relationship with Sony via PlayStation. Sony has a music division with a recording, which is a recording label, music. Sony Pictures is a film division of Sony. Okay. And then there's also a Sony television division of Sony that produces television shows like Breaking Bad, for instance. So that checks all of those boxes. Now, what did he just do? He just opened an office in Los Angeles where PlayStation is now headquartered, first of all. Secondarily, that's the epicenter, the headquarters of all film, television, music in the entire world for the most part. Okay. So I'm just trying to connect the dots here. To me, it seems like it could be a possibility. Maybe it's an inevitability. I don't know. It's also worth noting that Microsoft and Xbox are in California as well. Is Xbox in Washington and Seattle, or is it in California? I don't remember. I feel like it's California. I don't know, man. I can just feel it in my plums. I just really do. And I still think that he's making a Silent Hill game, and I still think that it's that bullshit ass abandoned whatever. I just feel like, I don't know. So anyway, just to tie it all up, none of this surprises me. If anybody was going to do this, it would be Kojima. I think eventually he's going to work exclusively for PlayStation and for Sony. And I feel like that's the only company that he could leverage all of the things that he's interested in doing in that way. And that probably is the only company that would have let him do that.
Right.
So,
well, I really thought you were going to say he was going to replace Jim Ryan. That's what I was expecting.
Oh, no.
And my conspiracy is much less fun. It's
okay.
about the basically he's trying to get into every facet of entertainment, and this all started with anime back in the 90s with Pokemon and whatever else you could think of, Dragon Ball Z and Digimon. And as I've gotten older, you've noticed that the Japanese and sort of some of the Chinese culture has infiltrated into the youth more and more and more.
Mm-hmm.
This is just another example of them doing this. So when they take over our country and we become this, when we become this decade's Great Britain losing out as a world power, we'll be less likely to resist.
Oh, interesting. So now your conspiracy is that they're brainwashing us.
Yeah. So I went completely. I have on 2 tinfoil hats.
You got an extra large one on.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, we'll see who's right.
The worst part is I'm not kidding. Like I think that's kind of a thing.
Yeah. Well,
I realize it's completely crazy.
for all of our sake, I hope that I'm right and you're wrong. Oh. Number 4. PlayStation has now been accused of impropriety in the workplace. Travis says former IT security analyst Emma Majo, I don't know, it's probably silent, filed a lawsuit in California claiming that women at PlayStation were paid less than their male peers and were denied promotions. She claims that she informed PlayStation of the discrimination she experiences in a signed statement earlier this year and was terminated shortly thereafter. She further claims that she remained in the same role for 6 years, despite actively asking to be advanced up the ladder. And Majo stated that Sony, quote, tolerates and cultivated a work environment that discriminated against female employees, end quote. So now Sony is having their turn in the mud, so to speak. So any thoughts on this?
Yeah, this feels a lot of this stuff started with the Me Too movement about women dealing with impropriety in the workplace across various forms, whether it's sexual or advancement or monetary, whatever.
Yeah.
The thing you always run into is, at what point are we at the boy cried wolf? At what point are we dealing with people who are just jumping on the train? How do you know if it's real or not?
Yeah.
Whenever, I try to look at these things as like neither party is in the right or wrong until we've kind of went through arbitration and I can kind of look at it. Even a buyout doesn't mean that she's right. It just might mean that they're just tired of dealing with the bullshit.
Right.
So like when she says, yeah, I asked for advancement for 6 straight years, there's a part of my brain that says everybody rises to the level of mediocrity. Like that's why nobody is great at their jobs. It's because they keep getting promoted until they suck and then they leave them there.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a thing I learned about, and that was like a psychology thing I learned about in class, that you basically get promoted until you can't do your job anymore, and then they don't really have a reason to fire you because you're just good enough to stay there. So my
Right.
first question would be, I would like to, was she good at her job? We'll start there.
Yeah.
She's an IT security analyst, so if she worked when that PS3 thing happened, I'm going to say no.
Right.
But like I said, I don't know her. I don't know the situation, but I'll always start there and go from there. And if you look at a place like all the shit we've seen with Blizzard, like there's so much smoke there that obviously shit was bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there are people that also jumped on that ship that didn't really go through anything, but they kind of jumped on to try to get something out of it. Sure. But there definitely was some sort of cultural issue there, and they were allowed to do things they shouldn't have been allowed to do. I mean, it's pretty black and white there. So my question, is at what point, like we've talked about this before in other situations where people like, oh, you're gonna do that because I'm gay, or you're gonna do that because I'm younger than you and you're older, stuff like that. Like it's not always ageism or sexism or racism or whatever. Like some of these things just sometimes you just don't get things because you're not good.
Yeah.
I think it's easier for people, especially now, to just say, hey, you know what? It's not my fault, right? It's society's against me. It's not that I suck at my job or I'm a terrible person to be around or I haven't earned something, right? So I'm just putting that out there because every time we read one of these stories, I always think that and I never really say it. But I just wanted to say that out loud, that as with all of these things we read, like, let's see how this thing plays out,
Yeah, let's see what actually happened and what the facts are. And, you know, if it comes to light that it's true, then obviously that's unfortunate and it should be addressed. I mean, look, nobody should be sexually harassed at work. No one should be discriminated against. If a man is doing the same exact job as a woman and have the same exact credentials, they should get paid the same, in my opinion. And but to your point, and a point that I was going to make is that if I was in a job for 6 years and I asked repeatedly to be promoted, I don't expect to just get promoted just because I asked.
Right.
I mean, it says the story said that she actively asked to be advanced up the ladder. Well, it doesn't just work that way. Like,
yeah,
you
I can
don't
ask
just
to be president.
yeah, you don't just get advanced because you asked. Like, yeah, it's okay to express interest. Like, listen, I want to, I would like to work towards being this. Like, absolutely, that's perfectly fine. But just because you express an interest in being a director instead of an assistant director, for instance, doesn't mean you're going to get that job, and it doesn't mean that you're qualified for it, and it doesn't mean that you can do the job. So, asking and not receiving is not the same as deserving and not receiving. That's not the same thing. So,
Yeah.
I did want to say that, so we'll see how it goes, and hopefully justice is, I guess, done, if you want to call it justice, whatever. A wrong is righted if there is a wrong to right. But anyway, we'll see. It's definitely not as bad as the stuff that is happening or alleged to have happened at Activision in terms of like sexual harassment and all that stuff, the culture there. Number 5, the December PlayStation Plus games have been leaked per usual from website Dill Labs. The lineup includes co-op looter slasher Godfall for both PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4, Soulsborne style game Mortal Shell for PS4, and LEGO DC Supervillains for PS4. Worth noting is that Mortal Shell does have a free upgrade from PS4 to PS5, but it's unclear, however, if this will be available for the PS Plus version of the game. Much like the Greedfall situation from a few months ago, they can obviously separate those out and not make that available if they choose. What do you think about the lineup?
Well, I mean, I really think that you should get the upgrade, but if it's a PS Plus game and it's free, whatever. Like, why not, right?
Yeah.
I see. Mortal Shell is interesting. Like, when I first read about that game and saw some stuff, I thought it would be a lot cooler than it seems to be. Not that I necessarily would play it, but like I'm not going to play, what's it called? Horizon Forbidden Goes West or whatever.
Horizon 5 Goes West.
Yes, that game. But I do want to see what all the NPCs do and how they interact and all that fun stuff, right? So it's kind of the same thing with Mortal Shell. Like, I thought that'd be a game that I'd watch some streamers play or watch some footage every now and then, but it just seemed to die. I don't know what happened with that. I will claim Godfall and give it a shot.
Oh,
I don't need Lego DC Supervillains, but part of me wants to get it, and I love the Lego movies, right? So I feel like I should play the Lego games every now and then. I might get a wild hair up my ass and play it. So
yeah.
I'm not going to do Mortal Shell, but I'll do the other two.
Yeah, as always, you guys should claim these games no matter what, because you may decide one day that you want to play them, or they may decide someday that they're going to give the upgrade for free to Mortal Shell, or whatever the case is. Godfall, I own that on PS5, and if you and John decide you want to check it out, we can certainly do that. It's really not as bad of a game as people make it out to be, in my opinion.
They said that about the Nazis too.
Well, like the Nazis, Godfall does get a little bit boring at times.
What?
No, I'm joking. Godfall, it can get a little samey. I mean, I don't know,
everything does though.
But everything does. I mean, but yeah, it can get a little samey, but like you said, everything does. But I think the combat's fun in the game, and I think it looks really good graphically. So it's definitely worth trying out if you like looter style games. If you are looking for a co-op game, I think you can play for up to 3 people or play with up to 3 people. So you and John just let me know. Mortal Shell game's probably too hard for me, but if it comes with the free upgrade, I might check it out and see what it's about. Lego DC Supervillains. The Lego games are usually pretty good. I don't know anything about this one specifically, but I don't know. Maybe it's good. I'll claim it and then see and go from there. But
it's DC Supervillains,
right? It's DC, so it's got that going for it. It's a pretty good month though. I mean, in terms of the games themselves, we get a PS5 launch game exclusive. Mortal Shell reviewed pretty well, I think, and then we get a Lego game. So yeah, we've had worse for sure. Number 6, Travis, we have a bunch of news nuggets here as well. Feel free to chime in. First nugget, Returnal developer Housemarque appears to be teasing new content for the game after they tweeted out an unknown image from the game with the caption, Atropos, ellipsis, question mark.
Why do you always say ellipsis? You didn't say the dash before that, you dick.
Just to annoy you at this point.
This is the type of shit I like from marketing and media stuff. Like, this is fun. Like, you know, little weird things with a word, little teaser. This is how you do a teaser the right way, is what I'm saying. Yeah. People should take notes.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun stuff. I don't know what they could do. I don't know what it could mean, but I guess we'll find out pretty soon. Maybe December. Maybe the Game Awards. Next nugget, developer Media Molecule announced the 3rd annual MP Awards, their yearly Dreams Awards show, and it will take place on February 27th. Okay.
That feels like the meme where Obama's giving himself the medal.
It does. Website Push Square reported that upcoming martial arts brawler Sifu will not include difficulty options at launch. That's intriguing.
That sounds like a bad news for me.
Whoa!
I feel like it's gonna be so hard.
Oh, you can do it. You just gotta focus. You gotta learn. You gotta learn, and you gotta live and you learn. You crash and you burn. Also, JRPG Neo: The World Ends With You, which released back in July, has not met sales expectations according to publisher Square Enix. They're just fucking throwing everybody under the bus these days. I kind of like it. Indie game Tales of Iron received a batch of free post-launch DLC this week, which includes a new post-game quest line, 2 new difficulty modes, 5 new bosses, and special armor and weapons. Fall Guys Season 6 will include both Sackboy and Jin Sakai costumes.
I want that.
I want that. Demon Slayer, the Hinokami Chronicles, has received a 60 frames per second update on PS5. In a new Street Fighter V developer update, Capcom hinted that we would see the series' next entry, presumably Street Fighter VI, at some point next year. The PS5 version of first-person shooter Terminator Resistance is getting a surprise expansion called Annihilation Line on December the 10th, and it is only coming to PS5 or next-gen machines, I should say. A PS5 rating has been discovered on the German USK Game Ratings Board. That sounds very Nazi-ish. For Serious Sam 4, which launched exclusively on Google Stadia last year and was not well received. Epic Games has acquired Rock Band and Fuser developer Harmonix, and they will now be tasked with creating musical journeys and gameplay for Fortnite.
God, we fucking killed that, didn't we?
God almighty.
Rock Band was dope. Fuser, everybody loved. And now they're just it's fucking dead. We're never going to get another game like that again.
They're going to make music for Fortnite. What does that eat? Oh my God. Yeah, that's awful.
Right. Cool. Let's do Skrillex and Dye Your Hair Pink. There's Fortnite and the kids that play it. It's like that fucking generation. Like, that's why the Japanese is going to take us over, and they're slowly like their brains are just irradiated with bullshit.
Oh wow.
Anyway, whatever.
How far they fall. How far they fall. Next nugget, Call of Duty Vanguard Season 1 has been delayed to December 8th, pushing back new maps, modes, and weapons for the game. This also pushes back the new Caldera map for Warzone. It's a shame. Travis, this is the one I told you I couldn't wait to tell you about. Cricket 22 has been delayed on PS4 and PS5 following the surfacing of a sexting scandal surrounding Australian national team ex-captain Tim Payne. The game is postponed for 1 week while developer Big Ant Studios swaps out the game's cover art and does some other scrubbing of Payne from the game.
What did he text? What's the big deal?
Sent his big hog to a couple women, probably, I guess.
Oh, I mean, like, if it's okay, like, if it was to, like, if he's a chomo, cool, get him the fuck out. But right. Like, if it's his ex-girlfriend, he sent her his hog, like, that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. Maybe he was cheating on his wife or something.
Oh, maybe we should put his hog in the game, and maybe more people will buy it. You can swing his hog to hit the cricket ball.
Oh, cricket, man. Cricket 22. Big scandal over there in the cricket universe.
Yeah, I mean, I hope I get my money back from our pre-order. I have to wait a fucking week.
That's cricket right there.
That's cricket right there.
I've been knowing cricket 22 years. All right.
Fucking stupid.
Next Nugget. Nobody's going to get that joke. Next Nugget. Developer IO Interactive announced that Hitman 3 will get a second year of post-launch content starting in January of 2022. The new content will include new maps, storylines, modes, and ways to play, one of which is the Elusive Target Arcade, a new spin on the Elusive Target missions.
So, yeah, I hope the arcade is, I've missed a couple of the Elusive Targets. It would be nice if they were all on there. You could replay them. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
And it'd be kind of cool if you could, like, almost play them all together. Like, you could play all the other maps or all the other stories together. That'd be kind of fun to do if you could chain them together. And I'm interested to see what these new modes are and these new maps. Like, one of the things I've always loved about Hitman is the map construction. And some of them are real clanky and weird, but some of them are really, really good. So,
yeah.
I'm completely surprised that they're doing this in a way. I know they supported Hitman 2 pretty well, even though it didn't sell that well. So I shouldn't be too surprised. But, anytime a game is a year old and they're like, we're making new maps and modes, it's like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think this is really cool. I'm interested about the new maps and the new modes also. And, the other thing that I don't think is clear at this point is if this is going to be free or if this is going to be paid content. So curious to see how they handle that. Next nugget, Avengers developer Crystal Dynamics shared the first footage of Spiderman in game this week, and the results are quite underwhelming. We also learned that the Spiderman expansion will not include story missions due to the game being only on PlayStation. This is just a big fart noise all the way around.
Yeah, so it's basically just a money grab with a character. Like that's stupid.
Yeah, there's no story missions because they didn't basically want to make any exclusive story missions for PlayStation.
Right.
That's the way I read that. So, and the gameplay looks average for him. So, not excited about that anymore. But, that's the way it goes. Also, developer Arc System Works released a new gameplay teaser trailer this week for DNF Duel, although platforms and a release date have still yet to be announced. Street Fighters Ryu, Chun-Li, and Akuma, I don't even know if I said those right or not, I'm not a Street Fighter guy, are now available as playable characters in Brawlhalla as part of a special event.
I think Chun-Li is the guy from Pawn Stars.
Cyberpunk 2077 developer CD Projekt Red believes the game will eventually be a great game. As President Adam Kaczynski told a Polish newspaper this week, quote, "We believe that in the long run, Cyberpunk 2077 will be perceived as a very good game, and like our other titles, it will sell for years, especially as the hardware gets more powerful over time and we improve the game," end quote. And
guys.
he also shared that the 1.5 update, which is the next big update, and the next gen versions of the game will launch in the first few months of the year. So
this is insane. It's like they think they're that one game that got really good over time. That there's all those planets.
No Man's Sky.
Yeah, like no, you're not.
Also, he says especially as the hardware gets more powerful over time, buddy. We're in 6 years. We're gonna have a new console. Who's gonna give a fuck about Cyberpunk in 6 years?
Also, like, what does he mean? Like, it's not like the game's going to randomly get more power. The system's going to get randomly more powerful on a Tuesday update.
Yeah, exactly.
What he's talking about. It's going to be a whole new system.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So he's telling us to wait till PlayStation 6 to see how good the game is. Like, you can fuck off, buddy. Like,
especially when we were promised it on the 4.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Okay, we'll see about that. Next nugget, hardware peripheral manufacturer Fanatec revealed their officially licensed Gran Turismo 7 racing wheel this week, Travis. The Fanatec Gran Turismo DD Pro, which includes the wheelbase, steering wheel, and pedals, with prices starting at $700 and going all the way up to $970 with various customization options.
Yeah, so this is very cool, and no, I didn't buy it.
You're going to, though. Yeah.
I'll tell you a couple of cool things about it. So the base that your wheel mounts to is probably like the direct drive is what it's called. So there's a DD1 Pro, which is kind of like the highest end on the market for PlayStation. There's higher ends on PC, but for PlayStation, it's as good as you're going to do. This is the step underneath it. It's not as powerful, but it's not belt driven. So
yes,
I have the middle version, which is belt driven, but it until today it was the second level, but it's better than like the G29s you get from Logitech or whoever. So that's cool. Also, you can buy this in any way, shape, or form. Like if you just want to get the pedals, there's a way to do that. If you just want the base, if you just want the wheel, etc., like there's ways you can break it up, which is really cool. And then on the actual wheel, it is made for Gran Turismo. So like, you could change traction control if your fuel is lean or heavy, which affects your gas mileage and your power. You could change your traction. That's the traction control, right?
Mm-hmm.
Change your brake bias, and they have
I
knobs
don't like my
specifically
brakes
for
to be
those.
biased.
And they have those specific knobs which are colored. So like red is brake bias, so you use the red knob to change it while you're driving. Right now, I have to like go through the menu while I'm driving, go through the
Oh
menu and
man,
find it,
you're
and then
you're buying
yeah.
this 100%.
So now it's like, oh, it's right there. It's real fun. It's real easy. So
Yeah,
I might
sounds
just
like
buy the rim. The
mm,
rim itself is still expensive, but it's not any worse than, well, it's a little bit more than my McLaren wheel. But that's the thing, though. I really like the McLaren wheel. Like, I really like the McLaren wheel. And this is a full rim as well. It's not like a GT3 rim. So I'm a little skeptical, but I watched a couple of reviews today from some sim racers and they really liked it. So that's good. They
mm,
say it's if you're into sim racing, you can save the car a lot easier with it. Basically, is what it is in a nutshell.
okay. Well, I look forward to your review on this podcast in a couple months. Next nugget. Mafia strategy management game Empire of Sin received a massive update this week that transforms the game in many ways, including rebalancing and retuning many aspects of the game, which makes some of the game's mechanics more meaningful. In addition, a new DLC pack called Make It Count adds a new mob boss and new loan sharking business. That game's fun.
Yeah, that makes me want to play it because loan sharking sounds fun.
Yeah.
I've watched people on YouTube play this game where they like start out and then they just literally kill every mob boss as soon as they can.
Yeah, and it's game over.
It's fucking hilarious. I don't know why it's so funny to me.
Yeah. Also, Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection has now been rated by the North American ESRB, further cementing that a release is right around the corner. However, Video Games Chronicle noted that the ESRB rating does not include rating for any online interactions, which means the game's multiplayer will most likely not be included. WRC 10 received an update this week that adds the Acropolis Rally event, 5 more classic rally races, and another historical car. Website PlayStation Lifestyle reported that a new Sony patent suggests a future PS5 user interface update will allow players to switch to other applications without having to close a game. That'll be nice. Despite a nervy launch, Battlefield 2042 has had twice as many players as Battlefield 5 did at the same point post launch. Elsewhere, 2042 also became one of the worst rated games ever on Steam this week. Also, Fawzi Mesmar, the head of design for the franchise, has departed developer DICE for an offer at another company that he said he, quote, could not refuse.
That's not a real person. I,
It might not be.
I will say that I sent you guys an article that said Battlefield was down like 50 something percent in sales, but then it has twice as many players. So I don't know. I don't really understand how that makes sense.
Yeah, that doesn't add up.
I also don't know where they got their sales numbers from either, but it was a published article, so I sent it to you guys. But
Yeah.
obviously, it's getting review bombed. That's the thing to do now. Like it's in vogue to review bomb.
Mm-hmm.
But we could talk more about Battlefield later about the faults and whatnot. But again, I don't think Fozzie is real. I think that they made that up. I think
Yeah.
that he is a fake name.
He was never with the company, so how can he leave? Next nugget, Matthew Goldman, the senior creative director of Dragon Age, has left developer BioWare after spending 20 years at the company. It's a blow for them. It's a couple of big departures from EA this week.
Maybe he's going to Battlefield.
Maybe they're swapping. The Fozzie's going to BioWare and Matthew's going to DICE. Also, the rumored quote unquote massive PlayStation remake is allegedly a remastered version of JRPG Chrono Cross. Although Xbox Era's Nick Baker claims the game will not be exclusive to PlayStation. It's also worth noting that Chrono Cross was one of the games listed in the massive GeForce Now database leak from September. So that makes me extremely soft
Right.
to hear that news. I mean,
What's Chrono Cross? Time
It's
Cross?
it's apparently a very popular RPG from the PS1
Oh my god.
that I don't give two shits about. So, also, Dying Light 2 developer Techland claims that the way the game's choice and consequence system works in co-op play will encourage players to invest hundreds and thousands of hours into the game.
Okay, first of all, fuck off. I'm
We'll
not
see about
doing that. Also,
Yeah.
the game's never going to be done anyway, so maybe you should put hundreds of thousands of hours into making the fucking thing.
We'll see about that, dude. I mean, it's hard to play anything for that long these days. We'll see.
Yeah, that's the woman. She'll play with your heart that long.
That's right.
Keep
Been
your
married
heads
for
up out there,
7 years.
boys.
Yeah, been married for 7 years, so I guess that was a fucking lie, huh? Also, Riot Games revealed that their upcoming assist-based League of Legends fighting game, Project L, will not release until 2023 at the earliest. What an unfortunate code name for a game.
Right.
Sega has clarified that its strategic alliance with Microsoft is not for Xbox exclusive games. It's
What is it for
positive.
then? What does that mean?
I don't know. They're building some cloud bullshit for some massive RPG, I think.
Oh, for Chrono
Also,
Cross? I heard that's coming back.
yeah, for Chrono Cross. It's Chrono Cross Online, whatever. Also, the Game Awards 2021 will feature some game announcements that were originally going to be announced last year, but were delayed due to COVID, says Mr. Jeff Keighley. Electronic Arts reportedly turned down developer DICE's pitch to make Star Wars Battlefront 3 due to high licensing costs for the IP. This, according to insider Tom Henderson.
You know what's funny about that is I read, or I saw a tweet earlier today, because I follow this guy that puts, or this woman, whoever the fuck it is, goddamn, that puts out a Hanna-Barbera cartoon clips. They tweeted out that they were there's a movie on Cartoon Network that was originally planned to be shown tonight, but they couldn't show it because AMC still had the rights, so they couldn't show it until the middle of December. That was a tweet.
No way.
And I just died because it's been on like they clearly somebody had it scheduled for today and like didn't know they didn't have the rights to it.
Of course.
That's hilarious to me.
Next nugget. The GTA Remastered trilogy received an update this week that fixed many of the game's issues and visual glitches, allegedly. UK-based author Sandeep Rise recently launched a Kickstarter campaign for his 400-page book that documents PlayStation Vita's life and death, has smashed its 6,000 quid goal, having raised over 17,000 quid to this point.
It's a lot of squids.
Which is British pounds.
Right. It's called a quid and a pound and a note and all this other. Pick one, guys. I don't. How does that relate to us? Like
it's like dollar and buck,
dollar, buck, bill. So they're just synonyms.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, that's cool. I like the quid, right, guys? It's really cool. Quid pro quo.
We learn from the best. We learn from the motherland.
Yeah, we came over here to start our own shit and then built a government that's completely the same as theirs without a monarchy.
See how that works?
And it's working great.
Just a small deviation, and you keep on trucking. All right. Destination Home, a group dedicated to the revival of PlayStation Home, announced that they have resurrected the PS3 Social Hub with help from the PS1 emulation team that has been busy lately, resurrecting games like Killzone 2. Destination Home stated that players should be able to connect to both public and private lobbies by the end of the year.
That's going to be where we go when we're in the old folks' home. We're going to be at the Destination PlayStation Home.
I can't wait for that time. That's a good point. Like 50 years from now,
hopefully our wives are dead, and then it's just us.
we just got the VR headset on, and it's like us when we're 30, and we're just, porking some VR bitch. Anyway,
hey, maybe that's what we're doing now in our VR set. We're just reliving our glory days.
That's a good point. This could all be a simulation. We need to ask Kojima. He would know. All right. Website PlayStation Universe reported that the following games received update patches this week: No Man's Sky, Ark Survival Evolved, Genshin Impact, Riders Republic, Skyrim Anniversary Edition, GTA Trilogy, the Definitive Edition, Death Stranding, Hell Let Loose, Rust Console Edition, Black Desert Online, and Terra. Amazon Studios is closing in on a deal to produce a television series based on the mega popular Mass Effect franchise, according to website Deadline. Sounds awful. Also, Lord of the Rings movie studio Weta Workshop, I don't know, is reportedly working on a new game based on a quote-unquote major worldwide IP, according to a job posting discovered by GameSpot. This is after they, of course, were recently acquired by Unity, the Unity engine. So that's quite interesting.
Weta makes dope-ass props and like scale props for movies like Lord of the Rings and a bunch of other bullshit.
Avatar.
Yeah, they're fucking good at what they do. They're in New Zealand. Shout out to New Zealand.
Shout out, boys, and those big fucking spiders you guys have. Also, PS1, here they are. the nonprofit organization responsible for recently restoring the Killzone 2 multiplayer servers, as I just mentioned, has now resurrected the Motorstorm online servers for PS3. That's fun. Gotham Knights developer Warner Brothers Games Montreal appears to be working on a second project, according to the LinkedIn profile of Megan Barry, a senior artist who has listed a new project alongside Gotham Knights. Website Gematsu reported that crafting adventure gothic fairy tale game Witchwood will launch on PS4 and PS5 on December the 9th. I'm oddly interested in that game.
Not surprised.
Top-down interactive thriller 12 Minutes, which is apparently awful, will come to PS4 and PS5 on December the 7th. Space shooter Asteroids Recharged will release on PS4 and PS5 on December the 14th. Adventure puzzle game Everforward will release on December 7th. Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon will launch on PS4 on December 13th. Italian psychological horror game. Yeah. I forgot the name to put the name in. How did I do that?
I don't know, but it's pretty good.
Well, anyway, there's some Italian psychological horror game out there that's been delayed, guys.
Yeah, it's called Jersey Shore.
Oh, it's Martha's dead or something like that.
Oh God,
something about Martha being dead. Anyway, that'll answer it for you. Anyway, it's been delayed, and Martha will now die on February 24th on PS4 and PS5. Lovecraftian cyberpunk horror game Transient Extended Edition will release on PS4 on December 9th.
What's Lovecraftian?
Like, I don't know, like weird, like monsters and like octopus creatures and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Nothing to do with love.
No, it's just J.P. Lovecraft, I think is the guy's name or something like that.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
Also, side-scrolling action game Clockwork Aquario will launch on November 30th in Europe and December 14th in North America on PS4. Side-scrolling adventure game Greek Memories of Azure, or Azure, will come to PS4 on December 14th. Open-world survival horror game Wronged Us was announced for consoles and will release sometime in 2023. Alligator adventure game Angry Alligator, kind of like Hungry Hippo, will launch on PS4 and PS5 on November 30th.
And this is derived from Billy Madison.
No, yes.
Lucky Waterboy.
Waterboy. And finally, Travis, website Gematsu reported that publisher Tiny Build has acquired publisher Versus Evil and quality assurance firm Red Cerberus. The acquisition adds more than 250 staff members to Tiny Build, bringing its total headcount to over 400 employees. And that is all for the news this week. I'll kick it over to you now for a surprisingly busy week of new releases.
We should make a game called Amongst Us.
Ooh, yeah, we can make a lot of money at confusing people.
Yeah, and it's just terrible. It's like abandoned. Like the app, it's just really shitty.
Yeah, it just never comes out.
All right, on November 22nd, we have Farming Simulator 22, which is becoming a yearly thing. There are some different streams of it online. It looks just like Farming Simulator 21. I think they got some new models of an International Harvester, maybe, if you're into that. On the 23rd, we have Alpine, the simulation game. No idea what that is. Cold Silence, Death's Door, Let's Sing, Tilting Tiles, Together, Project Indigos, and Together is spelled TWO, Together. On the 24th, we had Drizzle Path, Deja Vu, something to do with Snoop Dogg. We have Fishing in the North Atlantic, Lorn Sword Winter Chronicle, not rental. Strike Force 2 Terrorist Hunt. On the 25th, we have Nostalgic Train, the Ear Simulator, Space Elite Force 2 in 1. That is Trump's military thing you put in there. On the 26th, we have Bus Driver Simulator Countryside, which I hope has like those Bolivian hillsides that are one lane you have to drive up.
Oh, yeah.
We have Formula Retro Racing, Gardenia Prologue, Instant Sports Paradise, Merrick's Market, Night Strike, Preventative Strike, Sushi Break 2, Sushi Break 2 head to head. And guys, you can only get Sushi Break 1 on PS5, but Sushi Break 2 and 2 head to head are only on PS4 because that makes sense, okay?
It makes a lot of sense.
We also have Void Gore and finally Windlands 2 on the VR. Got a nice little VR game in there.
We did. We got one snuck in there. Oh, let's see here this week.
Farming Simulator is the biggest one. It'll do well. It always does.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say, in a weird way, Farming Simulator 22 is the biggest game this week. What a world to live in. However, that Death's Door game is a very critically acclaimed indie game. I do own it. I am going to check it out. Supposedly it's pretty good. I've got to check it out soon, though, because Travis and I are doing a guest 2021 favorite games blog post for another podcast, and I'm wondering if Death's Door will make my honorable mention pick. So I want to play that in Far Cry so I can make an informed decision. And let's see here. Anything else?
Fart Cry.
Fart Cry.
I think you should play Formula Retro Racing.
I think you should. That's your game. Play it on the wheel too.
Oh, that sounds probably like not compatible.
That sounds like a top-down game or some shit. All right, so that's all for the new games this week. Let's start to wrap the show up here, Travis, by discussing what we've been playing and if there's anything we're looking forward to in the week ahead. What do you got?
Put in work on the 2K League. Still undefeated, but I had a couple of close calls. I was up by like 20 on whoever I fucking played last night. I don't remember who I played. I was up by 20 and almost lost. Oh, the Clippers. I was up by 20, and then Kawhi Leonard remembered he was Kawhi Leonard, and it was super difficult. Pulled that one out, and Memphis was super difficult. I don't know if it's... They have Jaren Jackson and Steven Adams, and the game thinks that they're all Dennis Rodman, and you can't do anything or rebound. So that was just killing. It was killing me. But I pulled that one out too somehow. Got in on the Battlefield game, the Battlefield action. I don't know if we talked about it. Did we talk about this last episode?
I can't
remember. I think the maps for Conquest are way too big, and
we did.
That's annoying. Breakthrough is fun. I like Breakthrough. Yeah, it's just Rush, but the way it kind of consolidates the map down, you could play in 100 different ways, but still be competitive and useful. The skill gap for me was just so big on Conquest, like because you're doing nothing for 90% of your life, and then you're just like sucked in. That was a little bit much for me, but Breakthrough's fun, and the Fiesta mode was fun too. I had a good time with that. We played some Battlefield 3 things, and I think we played a Bad Company map. And then it kicked us or something like that. So anyway, those were fun. Tom Henderson tweeted out earlier that, like, just a reminder, this game is basically going to be in what I would call beta, or it's not going to be to the quote unquote normal launch point for 3 to 6 months, which means, best case scenario in February, we get the game where it should have been now when they launched it.
Yeah.
That's super frustrating, but it's also, I think it's important to remember that.
It is.
I literally can't hit people from any distance. Like, I have to be right up on them. If they're running, I can't fucking do anything. I could snipe, but like if I'm using an assault rifle, I might as well just have a PP90 out.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. And then the hit registration is just bad in general.
Yeah, especially like I had a guy run in front of me and didn't see me, and I was shooting him in the back, and like I couldn't hit him. But he was running straight. It was incredible. I don't know what that was about. Again, the vehicles are just so overpowering. Like, especially the hovercraft. Like, dude, you can it's like indestructible. Like, you could take out helicopter. Like the video you sent me, a guy jumped it and hit a helicopter and killed the helicopter, and he landed the hovercraft and kept going. It's like it's just beta stuff that you would expect to see in a beta. Like, okay, that's janky. They'll fix it. It's little things like that. And then it's stuff like, I know they put out the update, but like just can't change your gun, this, that, and the other. I don't mind the quick change on like, your magazine and your barrel and your sights and stuff. That doesn't really bother me. I'm fine with that. I got so used to it that when we played that Fiesta mode, I couldn't do it. Actually, I couldn't change it like that. And it was kind of like flustered for a second because I was like, I need my scope right now.
Yeah, it kind of shows you the utility of it after playing that.
So, but yeah, no, I mean, look, there's solid bones there, and I think it will be a good game. Like what the CD Projekt Red guy said about Cyberpunk being good eventually, like that, you could say that for sure about Battlefield, and it will be. It will be. Right now, it's like if they cleaned up the load in and load out stuff and the actual loadout things is what I mean, and the load into the game and some of the party issues we've had with John. They tightened up that bullet response thing. You can live with the vehicles being the way they are, I think.
Yeah.
That's really all I have to say about it. It's not a bad game. I think people are overreacting, but it is interesting that from what we've seen at this point, their sales and Call of Duty sales seem to be down, and I just think that's interesting. I don't know what that means, because
I agree
usually
with
even when the
that.
games suck, they're still good. So
Yeah.
so this is interesting.
It is, yeah. I don't know if it has if it has something to do with Halo Infinite being well received, and
Maybe.
maybe people are just and it's free to play, but that
Right.
still doesn't explain, the people who don't have PC or Xbox who can't play Halo Infinite. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, maybe it's some of these free games that are just better. Like they enjoy
yeah.
playing Hell Let Loose, or they like Enlisted better, or
Mhm.
they just want to play Warzone. They don't need to play Vanguard.
Yeah.
That's my guess, but that's just interesting to say the
Yeah.
least to me.
Yeah, it is interesting, and it makes you wonder if we're at the start of a new era of competitive shooters because
Right.
of the free to play offerings being such high quality these days. I mean, Splitgate, all the ones you just mentioned, there's some real quality out there, and you don't have to necessarily go spend money on a game when it's either not ready or it's not satisfactory. You can go get a pretty high quality experience for free.
I think people just like the only reason people play games are to have fun.
Yeah.
And even the super competitive people that play like esport levels, like they're playing it because they enjoy it on some level. If you can have just as much fun with Splitgate, which is $0,
Hmm.
why would you not do that, right?
Yeah.
I think you might have a really good point there. That kind of goes back to what we talked about before. Like everybody knew Sonic because everybody had to play Sonic. There wasn't another option, and
Right.
now you can play 4 different sushi breaks and whatever a void gore is, right? So
Yeah.
I think that might be part of it too. I guess we'll
Mhm.
see though when we actually get the real sales data at the end of the month. Then we'll really know.
Yeah, I agree. So before I talk about what I've been playing, just some late breaking news here this evening that did not make the print deadline for the show notes here, but PlayStation Japan announced today that Soul Sacrifice and Freedom Wars on Vita will have their servers decommissioned on December the 24th. And there's a couple other ones here. Let me see what these are really quick. We can just get it all out there. All right. So it is Go Sports Ski for the PS3, Soul Sacrifice and Soul Sacrifice Delta for the Vita, Freedom Wars for the Vita, and Orishika Tentetsu UK2 Beyond My Corpse 2 on the Vita will all be decommissioned server wise, taken offline on December 24th. So Soul Sacrifice and Freedom Wars are big games. They will be dead online after that point, and those are both multiplayer focused titles. So, what better Christmas present than another nail in the Vita's coffin right there on December the 24th? So, you can just wake up on Christmas Day and realize that possibly your favorite Vita game is DOA. So, there's that.
Also, I know me and you talked about this a few weeks ago, but I just now on my phone got this thing that there's an update. They wrote an
Mhm.
article about it. Comicbook.com just released an article telling everybody that Sifu is going to release 2 weeks early. It's still
Oh,
in
wow.
February.
They're a
And
little
we
bit
talked,
late to the party.
yeah. So if you guys are listening and you need some people to tell you when things are actually going to happen, let us know. Just make sure you put at the DualSense podcast. Let us, give us a little bit of credit there.
Yeah,
Um,
they're a
also,
little
I
bit late to
played
the party.
I played Hitman 3 this week to get a screenshot for that blog article.
Mhm.
Replayed Dartmoor Matter. Did not solve the crime. Just went through and killed Alexa Carlisle and went and got the dossier.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
She was the only murder. It took me like 20 minutes. It was 5 stars, and I had like the biggest score I've ever had on that level. By the way, it still was ranked like I don't know, like 10,000th in the world. Like it wasn't even like I literally thought, what else can I fucking do to make my score any higher? And it was still 10,000th. But anyway, um, the game's still fun. It's still fun. I don't know why it's still fun. It's just fun.
Yeah. Well, you get a whole another year of content, so just buckle up, Buttercup. Well, for me on my end, I also played NBA 2K22 this week. I don't have a whole lot to report there. Just I got to level 34, 35 on the season, so I got my 30 tokens, like 65,000 XP. So I've done everything I'm going to do. We've only got a few days left in the season anyway for the My Team stuff. I think I played one online league game earlier this week. I really enjoy that league. I like my team on there, so probably try to get a couple more of those in this weekend, hopefully. And then also played some Battlefield 2042, as you mentioned. Nothing else really different to say from what you said. I think there's a lot that they need to clean up, but I think the core gameplay is fun. I think that they can just make where my bullets actually hit where I'm shooting most of the time. When it's not a having to lead your shot situation, that would be a step in the right direction. And I think that they fixed a lot of the servers and loadout and all that issues that was keeping John from playing today in that update. Well, yesterday in the update. So I'll have to check that out. And then
see, like the Battlefield moments on the game are like, if there's something they did right on that game, it's the quote unquote Battlefield moments. Like some of that shit is so ridiculous. Like that hovercraft that came up on top of like D
yeah.
when we were on that one
Yeah.
map. It came flying over the skyscraper, and we're just sitting there letting it fucking ride. And they land. The guy on the back is like shooting 3 guys. They land on 4 of us. We're losing the point. A guy spawns. We blow the thing up. Like it's outrageous.
It's really hard not to enjoy the game at those moments. Where like when we're flying the helicopter and we're just like buzzing people and we're really not killing anybody for some reason, but we're just swooping around. Like, it's hard not to enjoy the game at
By
those
the way,
times.
and I'm going to tell him, by the way, we're both guilty of this, but you did it first, and I laughed. I was crying. At the end of the game, it shows you your squad highlights, and it'll be like, Pussy Eater 85 had 220 assists. And then it's like Smoky Trout, and it says like spotted 1 person from a helicopter. And I was fucking dead. Like the only thing you did was spot 1 person.
I was working hard, okay?
I was working hard. And then the next game we play, we were playing for like 30 minutes and we get to the end, and then on me it says captured 1 flag. I was like, you're welcome, guys.
Yeah, good fucking job. Yeah. Oh, so I also played Insurgency Sandstorm this week. I picked it up on sale. Played some of it's co-op. There's co-op modes, PvE, and then there's PvP modes as well. I have not played the PvP yet, but I did play the PvE, and I have to say that I really enjoy the game. And the gunplay is really good. It has a ton of gun options, just in terms of the number of guns and then the customization. So the gunplay is really satisfying. It's a very tactical game. It's similar to Hell Let Loose in that way, where there's like one-shot kills and that sort of thing. There's friendly fire, and it has a lot of neat little touches, like when you push the button to hold to talk in game chat with your team, it sounds like an actual like radio, like beeps, and then it's like all that like radio kind of like staticky, like alters your voice or whatever. I think that's really cool. And it has proximity chat. So if me and you were in a room together during the map, it sounds like just me and you talking like normal chat. But if you were 100 yards away from me in another building, it would sound like we were talking over the radio. Does that make sense?
That's so wild.
It changes the way that the proximity chat changes the way the audio sounds, and I think that's really cool. It's a really cool touch. So they're trying. It's a more tactical shooter than Battlefield or Call of Duty. Obviously, it's more akin to Hell Let Loose. So I'm going to check out the PvP at some point soon, so you were asking me about an evaluation of that, so I'll let you know. But I'm enjoying it so far. Not a bad value for $40, but then the last 2 things I played this week are not PlayStation. As Travis farts into the mic because he
think about that
to show his disapproval, his disdain. I played a couple Xbox Game Pass games on PC. I played Forza Horizon 5 and Halo Infinite. Tried those out today, and I'm gonna be honest with you, and I'm not trying to be a PlayStation fanboy or anything, but I think the games are fine. I think Forza, I played for about an hour, which I know it's not very much time, but I think it's a cool game. I think the graphics on the cars look really good. I don't think the graphics I don't think the graphics in the world are anything really to write home about. I was playing on PC. I had all ultra settings, so I don't know if it's glitched or what, but the cars looked cool. Everything else was just okay.
To me, Forza, I feel like all I would like were the barn finds. I would love that.
I did one of those. Did a Beetle, a Volkswagen Beetle. I don't know, man. It's just fine. It's okay. It's like the Crew 2. It's basically the same game, just looks better, runs better. I don't know. Maybe it's overhyped for me because I know that it got reviewed really well on Metacritic. But I also didn't enjoy Deathloop that much, and it's a PS5 game, so I'm just calling it like I see it.
Right.
I think it's an okay game.
Yeah, I think Forza and Crew the 2 are the same. I don't always like those types of games anyway, but yeah. I can see that.
Well, and I was in the mood for that because I've been telling you I want a co-op or not
Right.
co-op. I want an open world racing game. I was in the mood for it, and it wasn't really sticking with me. So it's fine, but I don't think it's a system seller or anything like that. So then I hopped into Halo Infinite because I've just been hearing, Jacob and John talk about that, and really everybody on Twitter, talking about how good it is. And I got a hot take about this, and I know it's not going to be popular, but I am of the opinion that Splitgate is a better game than Halo Infinite. So I don't know. I mean, just take it for what it's worth. As somebody who only played about an hour of it, it's okay. It's fine. It's just more Halo. It looks a little better. I don't know. I don't get it. But then again, I've never really got the hype over Halo. So
yeah, I think there's just like with Modern Warfare, there's a little nostalgia there. That helps.
Yeah, absolutely. So my opinion is that it's a fine game. It's okay. It's fine. I could have not played it, or I could just play Splitgate and be just as fine, in my opinion. Anyway, that's it. Just quick little hot takes on that. Probably won't play either of those again. I'll just stick with my trusty old PlayStation games. So anyway, that's all I got. That's all we've got this week on the show. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss an episode. We'll be there waiting for you on Mondays in your podcast feeds. If you also would be kind enough to rate us, review us, and then finally share us with a friend or a loved one who you think may enjoy a PlayStation podcast like this, where they can get everything PlayStation in less than 90 minutes each week, we would be much obliged. We're going to get out of here now. You guys take care. Have a great week. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving, and we'll talk at you next time. Bye-bye.